All right. Welcome everyone to the Farside Business Builder. I see we have quite an interesting spread of countries represented today. No one said so in the chat, but I know where some of you are from. So welcome and thank you for joining us. Our trainer today is an awesome Michelle MacFarlane. Michelle is a digital marketing expert who has spent the course of her career, almost 3 decades worth of career, helping business owners to get their brands in front of their target audience. Michelle has a strong desire to equip her clients with relevant tools and understanding so that you can use your platforms and empower yourself to make informed decisions about marketing. So I'm really excited to have Michelle. She is currently the CEO and founder of Dragon Consulting. So I'm sure she'll chat about Dragon as well and their amazing initiative, #marketing. If you're looking for caring, fun, down to earth and affordable strategic marketing, then Michelle and her team are for you. And I can't wait to hear from her regarding the training today. Michelle, welcome.
Thank you, Tamron. So for those, I do know some of you in the room, for those that haven't met before, as I said, my name is Michelle. I'm based in St. Francis Bay, down in Eastern Cape in South Africa. Used to be in Joburg, but it's much happier at the beach, so we're down here. I know Natalie's not too far away from me across in the next little bay. So the important thing with us at Dragon Consulting, that's our digital marketing agency, but during lockdown, we established a real necessity for small business owners who couldn't afford an agency or someone else to do their marketing, but really needed to have the tools to make the right decisions because you have limited resources and you need to spend it wisely. And that's why we launched #training, and being part of a Farside Business Builder is such a privilege for us. We love spending time with all the clients, so it's great fun. And today we go to, as I said to Tamron, it's pretty much how to get your customers' attention and keep it. If you want to go into marketing speak, it's content creation for the buying journey, but I'll explain it all. So please don't furiously write notes. I've given Tamron a copy of the presentation. She will email it to everybody who attends. Rather, try and absorb the content, ask as many questions as you like. I won't necessarily see the chat, but I will open the chat and give you opportunities to ask me questions as well, specific to yours as we go along. There's plenty time today. I do have a habit of speaking really fast, so if I need to slow down, please just tell me to slow down and I shall be conscious of that. Hopefully it's set aside in a really comfortable way. I'm going to teach you what the customer journey is and why it's so important to create different types of content for each stage of the buying journey. And then I'll also give you examples of that type of content that would work in each stages of the buying journey. But as I say, all in the notes, you'll have an exact copy of the presentation, so no stress about that. Okay. We did test my screen share earlier, so I'm hoping it's still working absolutely fine. Is it all looking good? Perfect. Shall we go? Cool. All right, so the first thing we're going to do now is actually learn how to understand the buyer's journey in marketing. And you need to have a buyer that fits your ideal clients. And where they start out normally is they have absolutely no idea of your product, and sometimes they don't even know that they need it. And there's always some sort of triggering event that makes them start looking for a solution to their problem. And that normally is a change in their situation, or it highlights a problem or pain that needs to be solved. And then they start looking. This is the buying journey. Pretty easy. You have an awareness stage, a consideration stage, and a decision stage. In the awareness stage, the buyer's experiencing a problem or a pain, and their goal is just to alleviate the problem. They're looking for information and resources. They want to more clearly understand what's going on and kind of frame and give a name to their problem. So sometimes they're not entirely aware that they even have a problem. And that's why I'll always tell you, make sure in your marketing that you ask lots of questions, because my classic example is if you're driving down the highway at a rapid rate of knots and you see a billboard that says you're driving too fast, especially us as South Africans, we'll just kind of whatever and ignore it. But if you see a billboard that says, are you driving too fast? The chances are you will probably have a look at your speedo and see how fast you're going. So remember, those framing questions to try and get people to consider and think, always a good idea when you start your marketing. If they're not even thinking about solutions yet, they're just looking for information and they haven't decided on a specific person either. They're just looking for that information and resources so they can clearly understand their problem and maybe give a name to it. So the goal here in the awareness stage is to show up, establish your authority, and build trust. If people don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. If they like you, they might chat to you, but it doesn't mean they're going to buy. You have to actually build trust. And the way you build trust is by showing you know what you're talking about. So that's the awareness stage, and we'll go into all these in a little bit more detail later on. Once you get into the consideration stage, they know what their problem is. They've committed to researching that and making sure they understand the different approaches, the different ways of solving the problem, and the different people that are there. And they start to look at all the different solutions that are out there. So your goal as a marketer for catching people in the consideration stage is looking at your direct and indirect competition. So your direct competition would be, say, for example, Coke and Pepsi. They're in direct competition to one another, but Coke and fruit juice are kind of indirect competitors. You'll have, they appeal to a very different audience, but they'll both stop you from being thirsty. So those are the things you need to understand. One thing I'm going to tell you when you are considering your competition, it's always good to be aware of it so you can overcome objections and you can, without slagging off a competitor, you can kind of alleviate the people's fears or show them why yours, and not necessarily why yours is better. We don't do comparative advertising like they do in the States. It's not legal here, South Africa, but to actually sit and give them an option to compare them logically. So you really want to start giving them good information. For any of you that have taken out a cell phone or mobile phone contract, or you want to buy a specific handset, you'll know the easiest way to make your decisions is having all the different products next to each other, basically with tick boxes. This has got this, this has got this, this has got this. So you can make a really good comparison. So you need to find a way of doing that subtly, educating, overcoming objections, and really showing your value. It's not about selling, it's just showing your value and educating them on the pros and cons of the different options that are available to you. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You don't need to be a one size fits all, and you're not going to solve everybody's problem, but you want to try and get to the majority of your niche and start getting them towards driving a decision. Once they've considered everything, they're going to go to a decision stage. So in the decision stage, they've already decided what solution they want or how they're going to approach their problem. And their goal is to compile a list of people who can do it, make a short list, and make a decision. So during this time, they're going to go with the people they like, they know, and they trust, as long as you can meet those needs. So here's where you can understand the communication that you've done from the time that they became aware of you all the way to this, because you attract people you want to work with. You don't need, yes, you can probably sell your product to anybody and everybody, but you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, as I said. So you need to really focus that you can do that and show them that you can meet their needs. Now, all of this might sound important, but I'm going to tell you next why it's important to create content for the whole buying journey. The most important thing you need to understand with your clients is how they think. What drives those buying decisions? Who influences those buying decisions? And remember also, sometimes the person who's doing the buying is not necessarily the person that you're solving the problem for. If you look at education, for example, you should ideally have a two-pronged approach, because your parents are your clients. They would be paying for everything, but the consumer would be the child or the person being educated, the learner. And it needs to appeal to both, because I'm sure you guys have seen an ad and gone and shown it to someone and go, oh, what do you think about this? It's important that they can also see the value in it. So having different types of content appealing to both sides makes that decision the most important. One thing to remember with all of this, you need to spend about 80% of your time educating and communicating with your clients, and only about 20% of that time selling. Especially in the UK and South African markets, hard sell isn't a go. In America, hard sell does work. It's a different way of doing things, but I can promise you, particularly us South Africans don't like being told what to do and don't like to be pressured into making decisions. And that's why my advice to you, even if you are using the overseas markets, is to focus on educating, showing up consistently, and consistently showing that value so that they really, really understand and you stay top of mind when they want to do all of that. So you need to show them the answers they're looking for. You need to understand the path that they make to taking decisions, and you need to understand where they are in the buying journey. And then the next thing is, where do they get the information? So if you have a client who specifically is only a Facebook type person or an Instagram type person, if you're doing all to the people that are already in your database, so they're already where you exist and they haven't bought yet, so that's an entirely different discussion on its own. But if you understand where people get their information, you understand where to market and where to advertise. So going into the depths of your customer avatars is incredibly important. You need to understand their values, you need to understand what's important to them, and you really need to decide or to understand their role in those buying decisions. Is it an impulse buy? Is it a really big buy? Do they need a lot more information? Are they going to have to convince others with purse strings to actually make these decisions? And that's going to be very important. The one thing I have put at the bottom there is your buyer must relate to your content or you will lose them. And this goes even down to the subtleties of the types of images that you choose to use in your marketing. Because if they can't relate to your content, you'll lose them. It would be like doing kind of fancy, torn full of holes, hip hugging jeans, and in your images are maybe particularly of the elderly. Not against any of us that are slightly older in the room, but at the same time, it's not then going to appeal to your actual audience who will buy everything. So you would want to have youngsters there. One caveat I will tell you is understanding your market from a South African perspective, right down to the types of imagery you use. And as small business owners, you often have limited resources as far as stock photography goes. So please, if you are going to market specifically to, for example, the South African black market, make sure that you're not using African American or the UK sites seem to be more Afro-Caribbean images. People look different. There is a difference, and sometimes it's almost a little disrespectful. There are a lot of great sites, especially Free Pick, where you can actually find a lot of local photographers who do people who look like all of us South Africans that are here. So make sure when you're doing things, it's great. If you're marketing to South Africans in summer, make sure that you're using summer images. If you're marketing to people in the UK, I know if you're marketing, for example, around the London area, everybody really dresses up. But if you're working for people who work from home, everybody's a little more casual and people don't necessarily dress up to the nines when they do things. So even those slight subtleties, also down to deciding whether you're using emojis in your posts. It's a great way to get more attention and show the fun side and humorous side and a little bit of your personality, but does it appeal to your audience and can they identify with what you're speaking? Don't use too many acronyms unless it's specific for your target market. Make sure you use the kinds of language, and my default advice to you would be write as you speak. I know I can be crazy with my grammar. I like everything to be absolutely great. But when you start with therefores and which and with whiches and whatever, it's not the way people speak, and it can kind of alienate people or seem a little bit too aloof. So those are kind of the subtleties you need to think about. So I'm going to do a quick recap, and then I'm going to ask you if you've got any questions before we go down into all the details. So for the awareness stage, is where people look for answers, resources, education, they research data, and they're looking for opinions and insights. In the consideration stage, they're doing heavy research on whether or not your product or service is a good fit for them. And in the decision stage is where they figure out exactly what it would take to become a customer and whether they want to. So I'm just going to quickly pop back to you guys and see if you have any questions. Any questions? You can just shout out.
You can put your microphones on, or you can pop questions in the chat. Or Michelle, everybody happy?
Cool. If you think about it afterwards, just pop into the chat. I see there is one there, none at the moment. Cool. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, so now I'm going to go and give you the ideal challenges for each channels, for each of these stages. So let's have a look. The ideal channels for the awareness stage are blogs, which are great sources of information. Having blogs on your website also is wonderful for organic search engine optimization. For those of you who do have websites, normal search engine optimization is incredibly expensive. It is a never-ending game. It's something that you will have to stick with for the rest of your life, much like parenthood. You've got to keep on nurturing it, keep on changing it, keep on adding things. Whereas if you are writing blogs that add value, they do need to be, I don't want to say keyword heavy, I'm going to say keyword rich, because you don't want to write just for the keywords. But if you've got those keywords there, they will be more searchable on Google. And Google, if people are going to your site, spending time there and not bouncing and actually reading your content and consuming content, you can kind of position yourselves as thought leaders where people go, oh, I know, I always get really good information from this page, so let me go see what they have to say about this topic. It also obviously does make you way more searchable, and the more often you update your site with blogs, the better Google likes it. Search engine marketing, I kind of explained, that is there. You can do SEO, which is good, having your keywords, even adding keywords as part of your URL for your website. Do it carefully, because you don't want anything that's too long or too difficult, or at least having a headline that comes up with the right things. And then social media marketing is a great one. Whether it is organic or paid, doesn't really matter to some extent. Remember, your organic is the ads and things that you post on your social media pages. Do understand that the stuff you post on your social media is only going to go as far as the little bubble of your followers, unless you're doing TikTok or Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels. Those are the types of content that will actually be shown to people that are not your followers. If you do your hashtag research correctly, then you will come up there. So that's why video is quite an important thing to do, because it can get shown to people that are not your followers. If you're doing paid ads on social media, you can really get specific on your targeting. You can put qualifying questions in, and you can make sure that the leads that you get are really, really good. There's a lot of technical side when it comes to doing the actual targeting and retargeting on Facebook ads. And my business partner, Rob, is the expert on that, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that. But these are the great places. If you're doing Facebook ads, they do pop up in front of people. So if you're on Google, people need to know what they're looking for. So either they're looking for you, they're looking for your product, or they're looking for your solution already. If they haven't actually put a name to that problem or a name to the solution, or they don't even know you exist, that's when your social media marketing becomes really good, especially paid ads, because you get your impressions, it pops up in front of people. You need to stick it out over a period of at least 6 to 12 weeks, because people need to normally see content about 6 to 8 times before they'll even engage with it. So don't be too despondent and don't chop and change. Be consistent, make sure your brand pops out, and make sure you're adding value with ads that you're putting together. Okay, so that's for the awareness stage. Then there's some more. These are the actual types of content. You can do blog posts, social media posts, you can write white papers. White papers are, I don't want to say research articles, but they are thought leadership articles, but they tend to be more technical and educational than opinion pieces. It's probably not doing a white paper any justice, my definition of it, but I'm sure you'll get the gist of what it's about. Customers love checklists, where you can list a whole lot of problems and have you got this problem? Have you got that problem? Do you have this issue? Would you like this? Would you like that? People love checklists. How-to videos also work amazingly well. And even remember, even if you teach people everything you know, they don't have your expertise to actually take that and apply it to their specific problem. So it's never really an issue if you do how-to videos. Putting kits together, or toolkits together, those work incredibly well for people. A lot of people will try and do it on, go ahead and try something by themselves until they don't get it right. And then they'll go, okay, there might be something more to it. Let me go back and have a look. Ebooks are great and tip sheets are great. These guys, ebooks are not pamphlets, especially if you're going to, within your social media, ask for someone's email address in return for the free ebook. make sure that, email address is quite a commitment to giving someone, even with the new POPI Act and with your POPI compliant or GDPR compliant software. It is a commitment for them to give you their email addresses. So make sure that it has value, that it's got some meat to it, and it's not a one-pager, a pamphlet, or something that could have just been a post. It needs to be really informative. Tip sheets are great, a little less commitment as far as creation goes, but you can give them tips to try all sorts of things in the meantime, or let them know various solutions that are out there, not necessarily your own. And educational webinars work really well. In the coaching space, educational webinars do work really, really well. Be mindful of the fact that nowadays, after lockdown, a lot of people are kind of free webinared out. So if you're going to be marketing an educational webinar for free, or even a kind of an incidental cost to attend, make sure that people know what they're going to get out of it. Otherwise, you're not going to get that email address and they're not going to sign up or arrive. Okay, content formats for the consideration stage. So now they're aware that you exist, they're aware of their problem, they've framed the solution that they think they need, and now they actually need to start considering and doing a deep dive into the options they have available to them. And this is always great, as I said to you, for example, with the cell phone handsets, is a product comparison guide where you can give them comparisons. Be very careful not to name and shame specifically. It's not legal to do so here. But if you wanted to, you can go ahead and do some comparisons between different types without actually mentioning manufacturers. You can explain differences between the products quite happily. Case studies people love, where you've actually either told them success stories or being absolutely brutally honest and told them that this wasn't the solution for this client, but this was a change solution, or this is how we put things together. Those are the things. If you're selling stuff, free samples are a great idea. And I think if you have a look, the cosmetic industry does this incredibly well. How many times have you're not going to commit to spending a few $100 on a product, but if you can try it out for free, that also works quite well. And you could actually consider a free educational workup, a free sample, if you wanted people to get to know you. Be mindful of doing free one-to-ones. And if you do, I would say limit them to 20 to 30 minutes, because if you're like me, you get carried away and you end up solving the whole problem for them in the free session, which is not really what the plan is. What you want to do really is give them enough information to reinforce the fact that they've made the right decision, to build some likability and trust. So really, you are right at the top of the list when they are making those decisions. The ideal challenge channels for the decision stage. Remember, to do email marketing, you need to have people's email addresses. Do try and collect at least first names, because it allows you to do personalization. And as much as I think people are aware that it's an automated process, personalizing emails in email marketing, it does make a difference, because it does feel like you've made that little bit of extra effort. Live chat is great. There are a number of tools available, and chatbots for service work incredibly well, when you can actually help people and guide them along the way to free resources, extra items, all that kind of thing. What you want to do in this decision stage, where they're making decisions and weighing up all the options, is to go above and beyond the expectation. You want to show more value. You want to really give them a totally awesome customer experience, so that they loved working with you. It's not a hassle. The communication is fast. It's good. Remember, there's always that absolute kind of thrill, excitement when you're going to go to the shops and buy something. And then if you go in there and there's nobody to talk to, or nobody's there. So if you're going to do live chat and chatbots, make sure your out of office communications are set up really well, or your chatbot has something like natural language programming or something like that, where those questions can be answered, and the bot has enough to actually give them enough information to then reach out and set up a time to either talk to you or go across and buy something from an e-commerce site. What you want to do with the kind of content that you're putting out in the decision stage is to handle all those objections. So in other words, if you're not sure what those objections could be, my first advice is something Natalie does brilliantly: network. Get out there, talk to people, meet people, take time to understand what people are doing and what competitors are doing. And if you're going to do competitor research, put your marketing goggles on. So don't go and compare product and price, because price, if you want something, people will find the money. Rather go and focus on, with your marketing goggles on, what are they doing really well on the website? What do you think is adding value? What do they suck at that you want to make sure you don't make those same mistakes? And you want to remove any form of hesitation. And normally that comes with showing the value, giving them information to make those decisions. And remember, a lot of people are very analytical. You also need to understand, would your audience be more likely to watch a video that you emailed them or pop across to your YouTube channel? Or is it someone that likes to read lots of notes and have lots of information that they can go through and do their own things? So all you're going to do is position yourself ahead of the competition, which is kind of where you really, really need to be. And the content that you would do for the awareness stage is free trials, live demos, a consultation offer. But as I said, make sure that it's not enough time to actually give them all the answers, just to kind of whet the appetite and hook them in and show the value. Or giving a coupon, which means if they commit and they pay this, they'll get a 20% discount. So sign up today and you'll get a discount. Or sign up sign up and pay today and you'll get extra off this. I don't particularly like so much of your next purchase, because people kind of feel a little bit cheated. But hey, if your audience, you guys will know who your audience are. So that's kind of the important things to ask. So any questions now before I just go in and reinforce the things to remember, because I want to go and chat to you guys a little bit about customer avatars and ask your questions in detail.
Oh, hi. Can I ask you?
Hi. Sure.
Hi. So just got out of the shower. So I look a little terrible. Excuse me.
No stress.
Just a quick one. With regards to your question, I just wanted to clarify what you meant by that. I understand this whole thing of having the consultation and just whetting their appetite, but you mentioned something about free one-to-one and not doing a free one-to-one. Sorry, I kind of like missed that. Can you just go back?
So free one-to-ones do work incredibly well. But remember, it's fine when you start out and your free one-to-ones are, you've got 2 days free in a week anyway. But once your business takes off and you're really busy, remember there's a cost to that time of yours. So there's no such thing where it might be free to the person who's coming to the one-to-one, but it's not free to you. It's a marketing cost. So if you charge out at 1,500 Rand an hour and you're going to spend half an hour with someone, technically that has cost you 750 Rand. So when you're looking at the different ways of marketing, go, okay, what else could I do with 750 Rand? It is an awesome way to do it. But my advice with the free ones is to kind of have something that would weed out, you know, how you've got your sales funnel and the ones at the bottom are the ones that you genuinely want to invest that kind of time in. You don't want to be setting up free one-to-ones with every single person who gives you their email address. Some of them might not show up for that Zoom session, and then it kind of disrupts your whole time. My advice to you, if you want to do that, is use a default diary, set aside, say, maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, and only have those sessions. The way to not have to negotiate around when you're going to meet people, set up something like Calendly, where you can send them a link and say, book a time that suits you. And the only times that will show will be the ones that you've defaulted out for your free things. It can end up being incredibly costly.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. I just thought that the way I heard it was that maybe we should be actually charging people for that consultation. So i.e., I've got the 2 businesses, I've got the virtual assistants, and I'm thinking, are you saying that I should actually charge people for that intro consult, what they call as a discovery call in the virtual world?
Do you know,
or do you charge? Just the question.
I don't normally charge for discovery calls, but we do quite a lot of kind of weeding out along the way. So let me tell you what our process is at the agency. We do get leads in, or we get referrals. The first thing I do is pick up the phone and chat to them. If they don't answer the phone, obviously pop an email, and I let them know that we offer a complimentary marketing review. So what we do with the complimentary marketing review is I have a questionnaire, and it asks all sorts of questions around marketing and platforms and what they're doing and what the goals are, and kind of, you know, what's good and what's one thing that you would want to change in your business in the next 12 weeks. if they take the time to complete that questionnaire and send it back to them, then I actually go and set up that one-to-one. So it's almost like a filtering process, because you let a lot of people who don't bother, and also people will come back and then you'll see whether they are, and then you can either refer them on to someone else who specifically would just do what they want, or you can meet with them and see. It allows you to be a little more selective in who you choose, and it kind of shows their commitment, because if you're just going to let them book and they don't need to do anything for their consultation, so maybe they don't charge, like mine don't charge, but they do have to take the time to fill out the questionnaire and send it back to me at least the day before the consultation, so that I can go through. I don't like to use the word stalk, but that's pretty much what I do. Go in and stalk them all over, see what they're up to, so that I can give them valuable feedback that they can go away and implement, even if they don't come to us for that. At least then they come, they've got something they can take away, versus just listening to what they want and you on the fly coming up with suggestions. Does my example help?
Yeah, it does. It's just that, it's just interesting, because you have that all the time where you have people. I'm just amazed at people. I've got the websites, both of them, and even on the VA side, people will click and go look at the first page. And it's interesting. I've got a page where it puts my price on it, but people actually don't go there. I find that quite interesting. Now, obviously, what I've done is I've put it's a dollar rated price, because that's been my majority of my target market. I don't turn away the South African market at all. Obviously not. I don't do that, but I negotiate a different price. But I've got the dollar rate there because of the market that I'm targeting. I'm targeting abroad. So I'm not going to have 50 Rand per hour there. I've got $50 per hour, but people don't go to that page. It's so interesting. So then they'll have, I would assume people have said, oh, I'm going to look at your website. And their assumption is that they've kind of gauged, okay, you've got a price, and we all know that that price is negotiable. Everybody's open to negotiation. But then somebody will say, oh, well, but they can only afford 2,000 Rand a month. Well, then, and I said, did you actually look at my website? So it's kind of going back to the whole interview thing, but your idea of filling out that form, and that's probably one of the things I should, do, is have a form which will eliminate that and say, what is your budget? What is your expectations, et cetera, before we actually go, because like you say, rightly so. I mean, I've got 38 years of executive PA experience under my belt. That comes at a price,
It does. It does. And I can tell you, people will, if they want you, they will find the money.
That's also true, but also I have found South Africans, and I can speak because I'm a South African myself, want everything for free. So if they can ride you out and get everything for free, they will, and which is sad, because we're all out there to make a living. But yeah, it does really help in terms of, I think I need to put a form together. I actually have got something like that. I've just never used it.
To my mind, I wouldn't bring up what their budget is. So a way I get around it is asking, have you done paid advertising before? And if so, what was your ad spend? So not worrying about specifically what their budget is for the work. If you know what those exact problems are, so if you could change one thing in your business, what would it be? And then if you give them something towards that, reporting, you can use pivot tables to pull this out, or we can manage you can go and get someone to manage your diary, or this is how you archive things, or whatever. You're giving them something they can use. The fact that they probably don't know how to put it all together or don't want to doesn't really matter. At least you've given them that value and ideas. The people who really see the value is fine. My other thing is, if you are constantly getting clients that can't afford you, you need to have a look at your marketing copy and your marketing content. Because the kinds of marketing that you put out will definitely, weed out. And I haven't seen any of your marketing, so it's no reflection on what you do. But very often, if you're attracting the wrong market, or the wrong kinds of clients, or people who want everything for free, then there could be something falling flat in the messaging.
I agree with you. So I don't want to hog the platform at the moment.
But that's fine. We have plenty time.
So just going back a little bit in terms of the social media marketing. So obviously I've done that ad nauseum, and I'm speaking on my own businesses, etc. So so even if I use it for like pomegranates, I'm really contemplating doing the paid Facebook ads, which I have never done. I've done it for other things years gone by when I was, had a little side hustle and I was selling these candles that change color and stuff like that. Years gone by on my own personal Facebook, but for the businesses, I've never done that. And in terms of getting traction and exactly saying what you just said now, attracting the right market, I've kind of thought that's probably where I've got to go, because I've done it now. It's the social media market on Pomegranate. It's not getting the traction that it needs.
No. Paid ads are absolutely the way to go. You do need to have around a minimum of 100 rand a day ad spend to spend. There are a lot of companies out there that will promise the absolute earth and instant results and blah, blah, blah. I can absolutely promise you it is not something that happens overnight. Our best results come somewhere between week 8 and week 12. So if you are going to do it, you need to commit to it. You must understand the algorithms learn as you go along. It starts to learn the kind of people that engage. It starts to learn the kind of audience that you're looking for, what appeals to them, where to find them, all that kind of thing. And to my mind, if you are going to do that, obviously, rule number 1, never boost posts. I can absolutely promise you, you might as well just go play one on Bandits at Sun City. There's no point boosting. You need to set up your business manager properly. And then 2 options: either find someone who can teach you how to do it properly, which we can, not me, because that's not my vibe, but Rob's really good at doing that. Or otherwise find someone who's ethical with a proven track record, where they've got references for you that can actually run the ads for you. Because I can promise you, while you're running a business, ads need to be monitored almost 24/7. Our clients that run paid ads, they are literally monitored between 18 and 20 hours a day, so that we're not wasting clients' money. We can see if something's working, if it's not working, all that kind of thing. So, but you can learn how to do it yourself. It just requires a lot of patience and be adaptable, because Facebook changes it every other week.
Yeah, from a business perspective, I'm trying to cover the overheads of what it entails just to have Pomegranate running, so for somebody to keep the website links updated, updating all the social media platforms in terms of the links. So there's admin behind it, so
there is a lot of admin.
Yeah, so the virtual assistant side of it is my primary income, and the Pomegranate side of it is what I call my passive income. But the point is that still there are overheads for that.
And also there's no such thing as real passive income, because you still have to create everything.
Yeah, but I always say to everybody, and this is not the money spinner, kind of thing. It's like never going to get rich networking platforms, never.
No. Well, the nice thing with platforms is you create the content once, and it doesn't cost you anything more to add, or more time to add additional people to it. But then you do need to, it's a game of numbers. So it has to be kind of time in and effort in versus how much you're getting out of it. It really would work, and certainly for networking, it would work incredibly well. LinkedIn ads do well from the perspective that it's not as crowded a space as Facebook and Instagram ads are, but it's on average between 5 and 10 times more expensive than Facebook. So whereas with an ad spend of about 3,000 rand a month, you could do it on less, but it's going to take you a lot longer. With an ad spend of 3 grand a month, you could actually make a good dent in brand awareness and all sorts of things like that.
Yeah, it's just that nobody works for free nowadays, and I've got people that I'm paid to do it, so no one works for free, and I've got to cover those costs, and I'm one that does these exchanges where you do X for me and it doesn't work. It never works because you get what you want. So I don't want to but you've done great things. I'm a little bit nervous about TikTok because of the whole China thing.
You know what? A lot of people have, but I can tell you, even being on Twitter, being on Google, your information's out there anywhere. There's nothing that they're getting that you aren't. But I can tell you that TikTok is incredibly powerful. Even for, and not just in the coaching space, but professionals. Even our one security company, we have a client and part of the agency that does offsite surveillance and virtual guarding. For them, TikTok, and it's behind the scenes. It's creating so much fun with the clients. It's showing a different side and giving. Instagram Reels has had a bit of a hiccup over the last kind of three months or so. It hasn't been as great, but TikTok is really an awesome way to drive traffic to your site. But people need to see you. They don't want to see ads. So behind the scenes, how it's made, you showing up, just be yourself. It's taken me 5 years to get my business coach, who I do the marketing for, to actually get onto video, because you put a camera in front of him and he turns into, I don't know, a stone pillar. But I literally got him to just pop onto Zoom, record it and put it up. Don't think if you whatever, just go ahead and do it. And it's created such a huge amount of people watching and getting excitement and things. So TikTok is an incredibly powerful thing. The other thing to remember, which most people don't know if you post into TikTok off your desktop, but if you post to TikTok from your phone, you can have 2,000 characters in the description now. So other than Google and Pinterest being your two major search engines, now TikTok is positioning themselves as the third search engine. So you're going to be able to, and running ads on TikTok is, a lot of big brands are running ads on TikTok. So where TikTok is going, away from the let's have fun during lockdown and post stupid videos and stuff, is now very much becoming a video search engine, where Pinterest is a static visual search engine, Google is a word search engine, TikTok is going to be your video search engine coming up. And it gives you huge scope to put keyword rich descriptions into your videos and actually make people find you.
I agree with you on the video aspect of it, because people are too lazy to read. So people just want to watch. We've just become, you know, that whole thing that people just want to watch. So I agree on that. Yeah, I think I've covered most of the stuff I wanted to ask you. I'm just looking at my notes here quickly. Yeah, I agree on the hard sell. South Africans don't like the hard sell. Yeah, and then just attracting the right people. You know, obviously I'm trying to attract the numbers, and I'm trying to get for Pomegranate, I'm trying to get a variety across the board, you know, kind of from the small, medium enterprise, and even trying to attract the bigger person, the bigger sort of, I don't know, CEO kind of person to come along, because they can always add value to the small, medium enterprise. So, but I think I've got to go into the sort of Facebook ads, Google ads, video scenario. But yeah,
well, pop me a message on LinkedIn. I'll put my link so you can all connect with me on LinkedIn. Pop me a message and we can always chat and just give you some points and ideas on where to go.
Or do I have your number, Michelle? I think I do have your number. I'm not sure, but anyway, I can get hold of you.
You probably do, but I'll get hold of me. That's perfect. Tony, I see your question: how ChatGPT changes the world with the virtual sales tools. AI, Rob, actually, he did a whole course on an introduction to how you can use AI in your marketing. ChatGPT is a wonderfully powerful tool as a starting point. So if you've got writer's block and you're stuck and you're not sure what to do, it's a great thing to ask questions and get stuff. Remember, the new rollout and update for ChatGPT is only due later this year. So the information that's in there is around 2020. So it's about 2 years behind. So remember, if it's your more traditional type of stuff, the content will still be valuable, and maybe you can just update to what's current. But if you're looking for statistical analysis and the more technical kinds of stuff or technology, it is kind of out of date. Don't believe it'll ever replace Megan, our copywriter. It's not quite the sense of humor, but there are some amazing AI tools out there. There's even an AI tool that you can run your videos through, and it'll automatically edit out all the ums and pauses and superfluous words. It's a bit like going to a Toastmasters presentation. Ones that can remove issues from your your videos. You can edit out backgrounds. There's so much that you can do with AI in your marketing, and it's really easy to use, and I really think it'd be really cool. From a sales perspective, automation is really wonderful, as long as you're doing it remembering that I don't like the terms B2B and B2C. Everything's human to human, even on LinkedIn. And even if you're trying to attract a business per se, there's still a human behind the business that you need to get to. And you need to understand, is it the CEO? Is it the CFO? Is it head of legal? Is it the marketing manager? Because what's going to drive their decisions are very different, each individual. Even if you're going after that one business, it's who do you have access to and what would get their attention. So it's a wonderfully powerful tool. There's a huge basket of stuff out there. It's definitely the future of the way things are going to go. As far as sales tools go, it could be a little bit pushy, perhaps. You need to make sure you've done things really well. If you're going to want to use, say, for example, a chatbot, what does work really well is NLP, it's a natural language program in your chatbot where you can type in as you speak, and the chatbot actually will pick up what you're trying to say and give you options and ask you whether that's what you wanted. And Tony, as far as virtual sales tools go, what did you have in mind? Azure. I don't know a lot about Azure. I would be lying if I said so. I can ask Rob to get in touch with you and give you some information on that. There are a lot of ways of automating sales, but my caveat with that would be make sure you don't lose the human touch. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, absolutely, you can have a chat with Rob, who would know more about how all the technical stuff works. Okay, marketing efforts and how to link to a sales pipeline. Okay, so the first thing that you need to understand, Rose, when it comes to sales pipelines is who is the audience that you're going after. And as I said earlier, even if you can sell, you think you can sell it to anybody and anybody and everything out there, it's not really the way to go. My advice to all of you when you're doing your marketing efforts is pick 3 customer avatars that are your low-hanging fruit. In other words, the easiest to convert, the people that are going to buy from you first, those kind of early adopters, and the people that really are kind of got their heads around what you are selling or what your service is. And then, but once you get those, you do your marketing for those, but you don't go after all of them at one time. So if you have a specific theme that's there, then do the theme for a month, but only focus on one type of avatar each week. So don't one week talk to the elderly and next week talk to the kids and then talk to the grown-ups. Well, I say adults, grown-ups, we try and behave like grown-ups most of the time. But don't try it all over the place, because you're going to lose everybody. And I know you've got to be really fearless. You can't be a shotgun. You need to be a sniper and go after one type of client at a time with everything they need to get through, from awareness, consideration to decision. And once you've moved them all the way along, then you go. As far as sales funnel goes, that's why today's topic is so important. Because while you're doing this, you're going to have some people that are at the awareness stage, some at the consideration stage, and some at the decision stage. So the content you need to be putting out should all reinforce each other and should catch people no matter which stage they're in, so that it makes it easier to convert. Remember, marketing is not sales. It doesn't replace sales. It makes your conversions easier because you build the likability, the trust, and you've shown your value. So you'll never have lumping sales and marketing together is always a little bit difficult. What you want to do with the funnel is you get them in with the awareness stage, and then you're going to filter them out with that consideration stage, and you'll get the last few people that are down to the bottom. When you're getting people into your pipeline, please don't forget that you have 100 people who give you their email addresses in the database. Normally 1 to 3% will convert. Don't put all your effort only into that 1 to 3% and forget you had 97 other people who were interested in what you we're talking about. They just don't have enough more info. So make sure you understand that, yes, get all excited about those 3 people that buy, but don't forget, if you keep nurturing and regularly sending valuable content via email, via other different ways, like here's a tip sheet, here's a how-to, here's a to-do list, here's some more information, here's a white paper, here's an article. Just gently do it. Remember, 7 to 8 interactions before they're going to do that. And what you do is you keep them on the simmer and you're top of mind. They're more likely to refer you, and they're more likely, when they're ready to make a decision, to remember that you're the people that actually helped them get to that decision. Rose, does that help you? Tony, I agree. It is getting harder to get past gatekeepers, and I think the difficulty there. Okay, great, Rose. I'm glad that helped a little bit. Now, gatekeepers is always there. You can run like a bunch of Vikings at the huge big boarded up gate, or you can actually attract content. So there's 2 ways of marketing and 2 ways of actually doing sales. You get a push where you are educating the person and making them aware and trying to get them to sell. The best one is when people are either referred or attracted to your content and they approach you because they're already interested. And hopefully what you want to do is you need to understand who the decision makers are. In some cases, the gatekeepers, you just need to, if you've got, say, for example, you want to do a doormat for an office block. If the only person you have access to is the cleaner, try get an introduction to the facilities manager. If the facilities manager loves the idea and has to get it signed off by the CFO, then you need to give that facilities manager enough information that would make sense to the CFO making that decision. So you don't always have to knock on the door. Sometimes it's always easier to, as I say, you attract more things with more flies with honey than vinegar. So always just try and be putting out value and work with the people you've got, build relationships with the people you've got. If you build enough of a trusted relationship, hopefully you can get an introduction to where you want to go. And I can tell you the best absolute way of doing business that way with gatekeepers is networking, because you build the likability, you build the trust, you get to know people, and you can say you would like an introduction to so-and-so at this company, and you'll be surprised who in the room actually knows someone, or a cousin or a brother or someone who works there, that you can do it. But I think people are getting really, really tough. One piece of advice I can give you on LinkedIn is whatever you do, don't connect with someone, they accept your connection request and dive into the inbox with the sales. I can absolutely promise you, I block and remove them as a connection, because it shows they were just trying to do that. A great way, Tony, to get past gatekeeping, especially if you want to connect with someone on LinkedIn so you can DM them, is actually engage with their content, share something that they've posted, put a bit of commentary, good or bad, whatever you like, tag them in the post. Invariably, they'll reach out and thank you for sharing their content, or kind of engage with your comments. And then it's the perfect opportunity to say, hey, loved your post today. Thanks for the comment. Would love to connect. And don't say we have a lot in common, because everybody uses that one, but say you're interested in learning more about this, this, and this, and just leave it, add a connection, and then wait a while and do more engagement and be active, stay in front of people without diving into the inboxes to go and sell. Yeah. Article is a great one to use. Another great way to get in front of a bigger audience on LinkedIn is go and sign up to bizcommunity.com. It's an awesome online website that publishes articles from all different levels of people in different organizations. It's already set up to directly share to LinkedIn. Put your 2 cents worth about what you think, rave about the article, quote it, tag the author, tag the company. Remember, every time you tag someone, you put yourself in front of their audience. So be mindful of doing that quite well. Show you genuinely care. And yes, the articles work really, really well. Does that answer your question, Tony? Cool. I will give everybody my LinkedIn one as soon as we're done with this. Okay. Things to remember. Every customer has a unique buyer's journey, and it can't necessarily be replicated from one business to another. So it's all about customer experience. Who gives them the best experience? It's the difference between riding on the back of a tractor in a parking lot and going to Disney World. It's really, it's how you make people feel, how you make them feel heard, and how you actually understand what they care about. So if you can understand what they care about, even if they're not for you, your solution isn't for them, you're building a relationship and you don't know who they know that might refer you. When you're creating your buyer's journey, understand your audience and develop a strategy to map the content. So what I like people to do is go and make a brand contact map. So you have your little company in the middle and do a whole map, or even just a page, a mind map, scribble it on a piece of paper, every possible way someone could find out about your business or come in contact with the business. Is it your team? Is it branding on a billboard? Is it social media? Is it a networking event? Is it a connection through someone else or a publication that you're in? And make sure, okay, someone will see us on Facebook. They see us on Facebook and they reach out. This is what we do next. Like I said, with us, we get the people, we send them the complimentary marketing review questionnaire, we assess that, we have the meeting, we give them valuable stuff with no expectation of them coming on board as a client. It's at least half an hour of value, things that they can go away and immediately implement. They'll implement something, they'll try it, it'll work, they'll be back for more. And when they come back for more, then they pay. So make sure that you've mapped out each customer journey and that there's no gaps, especially as your teams get bigger and bigger. And I know in the VA space, I have two, and VAs are absolutely critical, but you need to make sure they care just as much about your customers, that whether the customer is dealing with you or with the VA or with your sales team or whatever, it is the same awesome experience, and that everybody's there. So make sure you have trustworthy people that share your values, and make sure that you've got a way of keeping people on the hook throughout your whole process. And if you really do it well, you're going to impact those customer relationships, and your conversions will get better. Remember, it's not instant gratification. It does go a little bit later on in time. Some clients can take up to 18 months before you'll actually get. We've had one client that first came on our radar during lockdown, I think in May 2020, she first reached out. She came on board as a client today. So don't think because you can't get out of somebody now that it's not going to work. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see all your faces, and then we can take it from there. I'm just having a look at the ones that are in there. Yes, Natalie, reviews on Google are amazing. What you need to do is go get that link, and the absolute minute you have the first bit of positive feedback from a client, send them that link and ask them when they go write you a review on Google. Go and flesh out your Google business profiles, make sure everything's there, people know what you're talking about. Remember, Google goes and searches the profiles as well. So make sure in your descriptions, you've got your keywords, that works well. Recommendations on LinkedIn are absolute gold, because you can go and type up whatever you like, stick it on your website. It could be, oh, let's make this person up. Whereas on LinkedIn, they can click and communicate directly with the person that gave you the reference and find out how it was to work with you. So I think, Nats, I need to come to J Bay, we go for coffee. Sounds like a plan. It's just around the corner, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to quickly, while I do this, get you my LinkedIn profile. Any other questions while we're there? Tamara, anything you want to add?
No questions. Thank you, Michelle. I have put your LinkedIn in the chat. So,
perfect. Cool.
So now it's twice. But yeah, thank you very much. I do highly recommend anyone who is battling with their marketing to get hold of Michelle for that free review, because she will give you a lot of value without expecting you to sign up. But I won't be surprised if you sign up anyway, because she's amazing. So
there are options. I know for those of you, the members of Farsight Business Builder, our hashtag training private Facebook group, which is online coaching and all sorts of other content and stuff, is included in your membership. And if you do sign up with that, you will have that. If you want any more information, you can give Tamara a shout on that side. I have put my WhatsApp number in there, please. I know, Ray, you want to set up one of those, so you're welcome to go ahead and do it. What I will do, if you guys would like, and Tamara doesn't mind me hijacking your platform, tomorrow, I know it's short notice, tomorrow my hashtag training group's online coaching session is an introduction to marketing psychology. It's an hour. If you guys would like to attend just to get a taster of what the group is about, you are more than welcome to attend, and I will pop you guys the link. Let me quickly put the link in and you guys can just go ahead and join us. I'm just going to give you the Zoom link so you can see what it's like. So you're more than welcome to attend. With the regulars, obviously you won't get the full experience because most of the content that goes on actually goes on in the actual Facebook group throughout the weeks, all the tips and tricks and other training. But this specifically tomorrow at 9:30 online is Introduction to Marketing Psychology. Perfect. So everybody was relatively quiet today. I hope it added value to you guys. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, reach out on WhatsApp. I'm always available. Even if you've just got a quick question, it'll be perfect. Natalie, if you're house sitting in St. Francis, you'll definitely have to come for visit. That'll be awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michelle. As per usual, you gave us a huge amount of value in a short period of time. So I really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did. We will send out the recording and the notes together. So if you want to go over anything Michelle said again, you are able to. And I do encourage you to share the link, join #training tomorrow. It will be amazing. So pop in and learn some more about marketing strategy.
Thanks, everybody. I hope to connect with you all on LinkedIn soon. And for those of you who want to reach out, you have my number. Give me a shout on WhatsApp.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Cameron.
Have an amazing day.